getting it. Of course, it is a number one priority for the ministry. We're at the point of, we've finished taking stock of where it is, what the problems are, and what we think from the ministry. The technical people in the ministry, and of course, the two of us that oversee the ministry as ministers. But the most important and the most critical aspect is the final decision-making point. And that is the responsibility of Mr. President, our boss, and that will be taken at the Federal Executive Council level. But before then, I think Nigerians need to know some basic facts about where Ajaokuta is. There is erroneous notion out there that Ajaokuta is not workable, it is obsolete, like you said, it's just scrap and needs to be just pieces, and let's forget about it and move on. No, it's not as bad as that. And one important aspect that I too as a Nigerian hold is there is this emotional attachment to your national asset. When people suggest that Ajaokuta be sold outrightly, there is this part that doesn't just sit well. Well, considering my background from the private sector, I would of course want Ajaokuta to work profitably. And that is the way to look at government investments. If it doesn't generate profit and conversely waits or feeds on lean government resources, I think something needs to be done urgently about that. But there are 43 independent units, so to speak, of the complex. There's the engineering workshop, there's the light steel mill, just many other component parts that can work independently of each other. But where the problem is when it gets to the most important one, the steel making process. That is where we have gaps and issues. For the technical people who understand better, it's like you have some components that are ready. It's worked before now, but somewhere in between, we had problems with the management, and it was concession. Concession never worked. We bought back our rights over the company, and we're starting again. How are we starting again? I told you earlier that we have a team of people who came to look at it. They came to look at it with a view to providing solutions on the shortest ways and the least expensive route to take to get it fixed. We have our reports on ground. Some of the things are confidential. You don't come to national TV and say, okay, we finished this, where this is how much it will cost to do this and that. But we are working. I want Nigerians to believe us for once that this government is serious about Ajaokuta. And like I said earlier, it's about the most important task on our table. And we intend, God helping us, within the life of this administration to get Ajaokuta back to work. We can do lots. Generate income, valuable jobs for, you can imagine the hundreds of thousands of jobs to be created along the value chain. Get Nigerians busy and business opportunities that will be available once it gets back to work. And God willing, we'll get there. The second leg of the question, you asked about implementation, problems of implementation. I think that is the responsibility of whoever is in charge. If you ask me personally around decisions we've made and we've not implemented, I will answer you. But if you are looking at it wholly in one basket, and governments, I'm sure you're talking about previous governments, yes. And probably ours.
Yes, no, it's a known thing in Nigeria that government always make policies and don't implement. And the policies are so good, but implementing them.
I agree. I think it all boils down to who is in charge. I'm sure you will not hold us, you will not cast that on this government. This is a government that is responsible. for its actions. If it makes mistakes, it owns up. If there are gaps, it corrects them almost immediately. So I think we are moving away from that. It's work in progress, but we are doing things differently. And I'm sure you bear me witness that we've made positive strides in that direction with this administration.
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Okay, let's go back to your past in a way. What kind of autonomy, given your pedigree, what kind of autonomy do you think should be given to local governments? I can see there's a lot of, given the recent local government, do you think the autonomy they have now is enough, or do you think there's room for improvement?
Well, the autonomy I envisioned, like all well-meaning Nigerians, is total autonomy. Total.
Okay.
Administrative, financial, everything. That was what our forefathers conceived in creating the local government system. You have lived in a Nigeria where local governments have functioned before. Local governments used to award contracts like state governments do for primary health care centers, markets, bridges, culverts, virtually everything. Where did we miss it? Over the years, I think cutting corners and the drive to control everything, the penchant for our people, politicians, my constituency, to have total control of everything. I think that is partly what brought us where we are. I would want to see in Nigeria in my lifetime where local governments are 100% independent, where the people can hold whoever they elect as the chairman of the local government responsible for his actions or inactions, where the people who vote in the chairman can go to the local government and ask him direct questions. Why are there no drugs in this primary health care center? Why are you not fixing broken down culverts along market roads in the villages? Unless Nigerians get back the opportunity to vote, I mean vote as in voting, not the corny type of voting we see now. We all have responsibility. You don't expect government to do everything. I'll give you an example. Mr. President, through the National Assembly, we thank them a lot, graciously approved this autonomy for local governments. But I kind of feel that the same people for whom the local governments have been freed expect the president to also go and monitor how the governors deal with their local governments, which is not his responsibility. He being a person who is attuned to the rule of law and being on the line, he has done his part, and the National Assembly has done its part too. It is the responsibility of the people to own the system. What do I mean? If governors, I'm sure you followed the conversation these few days,
yes.
Arguments about governors being unwieldy, whether or not local government elections should be conducted by state electoral commissions. I agree 100% with proponents of removing the local governments from the hands of state electoral commissions. And the reasons are not far-fetched. We all live here, we know how they do things. No serious local government chairman can stand up. No local government chairman can stand up to a governor, despite being elected, in quotes, to tell him that, no, I'm independent, I'm autonomous, I cannot yield to whatever you want. You know what would happen? Of course, the governor would not come out openly to say that because I gave you directives and you refuse, so I'm removing you. Before you know it, the councillors will probably have a night meeting and find very convenient reasons to remove him. What I'm saying in essence, the truth is that the way it is right now, the local governments are still tied to the apron strings of the governors. Why? Because the governors are very powerful, and the local government chairmen are regular people like you and I, and they also want to survive. So they play ball. In summary, it is our responsibility, you and I, to take it up and make sure that we change the system. Unless we do that, nothing changes.
You did your NYSC with the Nigerian Police Intelligence Department, plus your passion for community development, also served as Commissioner for Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs, and then Deputy Governor of Taraba State. With all these experiences, what is your sincere opinion on community policing and state policing?
One part that you probably do not know is that I not only did my NYSC with the police, and I've lived the life of a son of a policeman in the barracks. We later on moved on to other things. I know the police, and I know that whether we give it a name or we do not, the police does community policing even as we speak. You see, I have this probably warped understanding of issues with Nigerians. We like to give titles, appellations, instead of facing issues and the problems. What is community policing? That aspect is just the aspect that involves the people component in generating intelligence, relaying them to the police. It has always been there. The community has always been involved in policing. Anyhow, I think the missing link is probably staffing. Do we have the numbers? Nigeria has moved from 50 million populations to almost 250 now. But have you checked the number of active policemen against the population? How many people do we have to a policeman? You'll be shocked when they tell you the numbers. Probably one policeman to like 1,000 or even more. How, in all seriousness, do you expect them to work this magic? Policemen are not supermen. They are not magicians.
But what's stopping the federal government from employing when there's unemployment?
It is. I think you should take that to the Minister for Police Affairs. I can only give suggestions. But the truth is, we seriously need to up the numbers.
But you said you're a police boy.
Oh yes. This one is just by the side. By way of suggestion, we all agree that we need to employ more policemen. We need to train them in modern policing. We need to re-engage the communities. We need to give a specific role to the cultural setup, the old traditional relationship between ward heads, village heads, and the police. We need to earn their trust, and the relationship is symbiotic. Because if you give information to the police, you expect to be protected. And on the side of the police, they too need a reorientation. If as good citizens, they provide information or intelligence to the police, and the police divulge the information to criminals who come back to the communities and hunt them down, you don't expect them to tell the police anything the next time they come. So we have these issues that we need to seriously sit together and work out. But the most important in all of this As far as I'm concerned, we need to employ more policemen, both at the officer level and at the other ranks level, and have them trained and retrained constantly on modern methods of policing, and check their welfare too. Look at their barracks. Have you gone to a police barrack in recent times? How do you expect someone living in squalor to leave his home in that condition and have the right attitude to work? Sometimes people blame policemen and roadblocks and say they are very rude, they are very harsh, they are impatient and issues like that. Wouldn't you be impatient if you leave your house the rainy season and it's leaking and you have your family back home, you're expected to put out this positive outlook to work and deal with issues? They are very serious issues. They need to be, the attention needs to be paid to their accommodation, to their welfare, to their security, life after service, and all of that. Then we'll have the perfect police that we need.
I'm very happy I asked this question. You answered it very well, sir. Two things I'm taking from this is, one, police welfare. The second one is the communication trust between the community and the police. Reorientating the police. Wow. I'm sure the IG of police with the
everyone is IG now, because police work affects everybody, you and I. So we all should be IGs and DPOs by doing our part.
by information.
Yes.
That's true. Okay, sir. I'm not going far. We're almost done, sir.
Yeah.
This new uprising now, your state, Taraba, has been in the news too for such things. Like every other state, we've heard of kidnapping, banditry. Well, most people will say it's unemployment that is causing it. But in your opinion, how do you think we can checkmate that? How do you think we can curtail it to a certain extent, or reduce it, if not stop it?
Well, if you were specific, it would have lessened my burden, but I look at it generally. There's criminality virtually everywhere. What differs is the location, and the type of criminality differs from one place to the other. For the northwest, is kidnap for ransom, cattle rustling, and banditry. Some have claimed that the basis or the origin of the conflict has to do with something like a tribal conflict between the Fulanis and the Hausas in the northwest. Not everybody in Nigeria even understands that Fulani and Hausa are two different people. That is another story on its own.
Yeah, most Fulanis can't even speak Hausa.
Yes, yes. And for us in the northeast, at least in the states of Borno, Yobe, it used to be Boko Haram. Thank God, it's been decimated largely. What we have now are just incidents, little incidents of thieves in the name of Boko Haram breaking out to go and steal, then run back to the bush. But directly for us in Taraba, thank God we have government in place now. Not like we never had government before, but what we had before was a lethargic approach to issues. Someone just slept on the job for 8 years. Let me not go too far on that. We have a government in place, and the governor has a background in this military intelligence, and is deploying his knowledge of intelligence into solving the issues. You agree with me that in recent times, Taraba has not been in the news for banditry, and of course the National Security Advisor is doing his own part, is working very, very hard in that respect, and they are collaborating with the government in place. That is responsible for the calm and the relative peace in that direction. What else did you ask?
No, banditry.
Banditry.
You've answered.
Oh, yeah. So I think that is largely responsible for the calm we are experiencing. I would wish that Nigeria is a lot calmer and more peaceful. This is a beautiful country, very blessed country. There is virtually nothing that God has not given us in this country. All we need to do is to believe in ourselves, look closely around us, identify what part of Nigeria we want to own, take up, develop, market, and export to the world. I look at a very prosperous future for Nigeria. We may be having rough edges here and there, but like the right leadership, with the right leadership we have in place
now.
You have
said what I've been waiting to hear.
With the right leadership we have in now, it may be tough. No good things come easily. No, good things don't come easily. You have to, not like justifying hardship, no. No, like I've said previously, that you don't have this leader that has invested 40 years plus in politics, devoting his resources, his time and energy at the expense of family life and peace of mind to getting to where he is now, and just throw it away in the sense that some people imagine like he just sits back and try to bring out one deliberate policy to harm Nigerians and go on to the next. It beats my imagination that people could even think like that. This is a patriot who has sacrificed so much for the country, sacrificed his personal comfort, his resources to get to where he is. The ultimate ambition of every politician who aspires for public office, there are two different. There's a politician who aspires for public office, and there is a politician who craves for the opportunity to be of public, to serve his people. But for him, he has been governor before, governor for 8 years in a mini Nigeria, sort Lagos State. And he has worked his way gradually getting to the position, the loftiest position, the highest position of being president of Nigeria, with all the beautiful ideas he has. All we need is to pray along, give the maximum cooperation, and by the grace of God, by the time we are done with the first 4 years, God willing, we'll begin to see the positive, the benefits, the positive results of all these policies putting together, be they in the steel sector, the health, where Professor Part2 and Alausa are overseeing, works in terms of infrastructure, Engineer Dave Umahi is beautifully handling, security, we have President Iman, police affairs, the service chiefs, communication with Bosu, all of us, everyone is doing his bit. And I want to use this opportunity to ask Nigerians to give us this chance to showcase all these positive ideas and transform them into visible tangibles that will better the lives of Nigerians, such that have the opportunity to look back and see in the process of agriculture what has carried on, what has the president and senator carried on to make agri better, health, how are our lives better, our teaching hospitals, referral centers, how are we doing, infrastructure, where have we transformed the roads from where we met to where we are now.
This country needs unity. We need peace.
I'm all for renegotiating the terms of our coexistence. We have to renegotiate it.
The youth have been misguided, unfortunately. You know,
I like my country. I like the land and people.
Hey, look, I have 40% shares in this company. So if I had known that you
judges are either corrupted or they are afraid of giving judgment.
There's no stopping us.
No stopping.
But government requires more revenue to make sure that
this initiative.
Give us a better Nigeria! Give us a better...
Youth are the vehicles of change. The youth are the answer.